And then I honestly just thought the coast to coast would be the kind of the cherry on top, and kind of just like a personal thing. It'd be cool to just like tell myself, like maybe tell my children or grandchildren, I'm fortunate enough when I'm old, like, hey, I was the first guy to do that. And then it's just really turned into, transforming. You wake up, you got, 27 million views. You got Elon Musk retweeting you for the second time in a month. And then I'm just an average Joe with no Tesla shares, and just a guy that likes to sit in his car. And
we have a special guest today, David Moss, the man, the myth, and the FSD legend. And you have now done 11,000 miles and counting.
Yep, 11,600 miles, intervention-free and counting, and 25 out of 50 states. So covered half the nation since 14.2 came out.
Yeah, that's gnarly. And you just got this Model 3 2025 Highland in September, you said?
Yep, late September, right before the tax credit run out. Make sure to get my free $7,500 from the government and take advantage of that. And then just been using it ever since. I got about 25,000 miles now in the odometer in that little over 3-month period.
Dude, that's amazing. When you were in South Carolina and then we started talking and your news came out, and then Hallmark's blog confirmed it. You said Tesla confirmed it. People from Tesla confirmed it, that it was completely intervention free. We started talking. You were not that far from us, so we're like, you don't like this color, so we're going to do something really cool with this.
Stealth gray being the stock free color is maybe the worst decision Tesla's ever made. Horrific. But.
Yeah, but it's not going to be horrific, after this weekend.
It's going to be transformed.
Yeah, but the first question I have is, what made you do this in the first place? Like, in terms of, I know that starting 14 really started getting better and better. And I felt like Tesla has made insane amount of leaps in 2025 in terms of their FSD improvements. So what made you start?
So kind of pure coincidence. It's just getting to the end of the year. It's getting to mid-October. And I'm thinking, I really enjoy traveling in general. And I was saying, I'm going to leave on October 28th. And then I'm going to go all the way around the country, and then I'm going to make it home by Christmas Eve to be home with my family. And then so I did happen to go all the way across the country. Must have been 30-something states. So that started on 13.29, and then when I was in Calgary, Alberta, I was even at a supercharger and waited to charge just so I could install the version 14. I was so excited. And then from Calgary, that took me all the way through the north, all the way through Chicago. It took me all across Manhattan, intervention free. But then the stats counter that we're kind of known for today, that came out with 14.2, and I was in Raleigh, North Carolina, and that was Thanksgiving-ish time. And then that took me from Raleigh all the way to Miami, up there, Atlanta, San Antonio, Houston, Kansas City, Denver. Area. All around, and then all the way back home. It was 6,550 miles. It took me home that month period, complete intervention free. So it's one thing, like we'll talk about the coast to coast run, I'm sure here in a bit, but one thing on that straight highway, a lot of it, a lot of it's just at night. That's, a lot easier. But for that whole month period, everywhere I wanted to go was intervention free. That's, every business office park I went to, every lunch, every dinner, restaurants, shopping malls, every supercharger stall, you name it, and then
including the car right here, we were able to bring this in with FSD.
It was
we have a video, like a 10-minute video of trying to get that done.
We'll put that video out, but pretty funny. Using the driveway mode, parking mode was what did it, and it pulled out right in behind us. So you'll have to watch that video. It's a pretty funny clip, especially that it has some challenges to begin with.
Yeah. But so when you first got 14.2 and you started, basically going intervention free, you were already doing a lot of intervention free prior to that. But did you kind of, when the stats counter came out, you're like, okay, how long can I go without? Like, was that the idea kind of?
Yeah. So the idea was just, it was the first day it came out, and it seemed fun to try it out. Of course, everybody wants to try out the new build, and then to have that. So I was thinking, okay, I got to go from Raleigh to Charlotte today. I'm going to do all my stops. Let's see if we can get it perfect by the end of the day. And 186 miles later and 13 stops that day, and then I ended up, and the very last stop I was at a hotel by the airport in Charlotte. It was outdoor lot, but it had like the little entry bar, like you see it like a mall kind of parking garage. It had one of those. I grabbed my ticket, it lifted it up, and then found a spot, parked it in, and I was like, wow. You know, I took a photo of the screen, shared it with like everybody I know. If you're friends with me, you know I'll send you FSD stuff even if you don't care about it one bit. But it was almost 200 miles, and I think the main thing was 13 different times it parked, including a couple chargers and that. And then it was from there. I'm like, well, I did one day, and then one day turns into two, and then now it's my whole identity, I guess.
Yeah, the FSD legend. So we're going to go back to some of the whole FSD, but I think a lot of people are also wondering, you really came out of the news in terms of after you did the whole coast to coast and all that stuff. So Dave, what do you do for a living?
I actually sell LIDAR scanners, LIDAR sensors, like you see the one on the on the roof there. It's not FSD, guys. It's all me. I have multiple LIDARs on the vehicle at all times.
You got like 10 Raspberry Pis connected to your Tesla, and then with like 3 LIDAR scanners on top of the Tesla right there, right?
That's right. That's how.
That is a joke, but all jokes aside, you do sell LIDAR for real for a living.
Yeah, 100% do sell LIDAR. So you guys shared it as well on X, but I posted about it. But if you want to see what LIDAR can do, kind of a little 3D model of this building that I made in about 5 minutes, so you can see a kind of beautiful to scale model, which is kind of fun. But yeah, drive around, help people, a whole bunch of applications like Elon likes to talk about, like the SpaceX, docking at the International Space Station to, I'm helping people make big, large scale 3D maps of our world around us. And then, from anything in between. You mentioned some examples where people in your industry use it, scanning cars and precise measurements, and it's not a fool's errand like LIDAR likes to say in every aspect. There's a place for every tool, and self-driving just isn't the one where LIDAR suits best. Yeah,
and I think we were kind of joking about it earlier, but every morning you have a routine to make sure that the cameras are clean, and you have a special secret that you do, right?
Yeah, straight out of the manual. I use buy some things of wet wipes. I'm on the road all the time, so I buy the little wet wipe 20-pack pouches at Target, and then that's my thing. And so when when I go to Buc-ee's and all these supercharger stops, and I'm eating them here with my greasy fingers, I use the same wipes I use for that, and I clean the cameras, and then I use my sweatshirt sleeve. And that's all you got to do to. That's what I do once a day before I leave, and make sure the front camera's clean. But
so that's very important for FSD, especially for vision based.
Yeah.
Cool. So this is not the first Tesla you got.
No.
You got a different Tesla prior to this. So this is your second Tesla, though?
Yeah, second Tesla. I had a Cybertruck before, and then unfortunately it's no longer with us, and I had to move on, and so. On there.
I think people are going to ask about that. What actually happened?
So, so the one time I was manually driving, having out in off-road mode, had a little too much fun, and we ended up in a ditch, and there we are. So had to get winched out. But as tough as a Cybertruck is, got winched out, changed the tire. I was up in a tree, changed the tire, totaled vehicle. And I was able to drive it 250 miles home.
Wow.
And it did great. So, I mean, hats off to Tesla on that, and in all aspects. And I always like to, it's not really a topic of the day, but I like to talk about, I also got shot at in my Cybertruck as well, if you didn't know that. As well. But if you search on X or YouTube, or if you even search my name, David Moss, Cybertruck shot, there's a couple articles about it. But essentially, I was just in a Dairy Queen drive-through. My town at Tacoma, Washington, nice part of town, on this Sunday afternoon, just waiting to get my chicken strip basket, and a guy pulls down his window and back window, and like a BMW X5 older, and shoots out one of the windows, one of the passenger rear window. So, and the glass kind of deflected it. I don't know if it was a little 22 or what it was, but that was one tough truck.
That is nuts. Wow. So did you have? That's crazy. I'm just like wrapping my head around that. Did you have a lot of experience with FSD? Did you have the foundation badge? I mean, foundation?
Yeah,
badge?
I had a foundation.
So you had all the FSD stuff. I felt like after, Hardware 4 came out and really like the front camera came out and all that stuff, like there's a huge difference at least for me, when I look at like the Juniper versus like an older Model Y. There's been such a significance. So even at the Cybertruck, when they first came out the FSD, it was fantastic, I think. So did you get to drive a lot in the Cybertruck and FSD as well? And did you kind of do the same thing?
Yeah, similar thing. I had about 45,000 miles on my Cybertruck.
Jeez.
So it had some good use. And of course, Cybertruck didn't, FSD didn't come out on day one, so not all of that was there. But as soon as I've had it from 12.5.5, I've used it 99.9% of the times.
Wow.
Since. So.
Wow. So moving into like the preparation, the method that you did this whole driving thing in, what were some of the rules that you've kind of developed in terms of your route choices? I mean, to make sure that, now it's kind of a game, right? Like how long can I keep going until?
Yeah. So,
right?
I mean, there is some games to that. I wouldn't recommend this 100% to anybody after a while. I mean, it's great where I feel like, I'm making an impact, like showing how far this can go, but I haven't, you can attest to it. My car was horrendously dirty today.
Yep.
I don't take it through a car wash bay, with mess the paint up, but even a touchless or do it yourself, that's hard to do on FSD. Or maybe I could have rigged it after we rigged it today. Anything's possible, but but no drive-throughs for the last 6 weeks. I avoid parking garages all I can, just because that's difficult. But things like that, you have to think about it a little bit more. So kind of preparation on there, and then talk more about just the kind of the driving and the safety, like you mentioned. But then the other thing, like the route I took across the country, thanks to Omar, shout out to you. I forgot I should have planned it better, but on I-10 there's a border control stop, and that would have been a forced disengagement. I'm not going to mess around, and maybe the hand gestures will work, maybe it wouldn't, but that's it wasn't worth the risk after 8,000 miles of doing this. So I cut up and added a couple hundred miles to play it safe. But on kind of like the safety aspect and knowing when to stop and everything, like safety is the most important thing. Like I did everything autonomously, first to do it, but it's still supervised software. Like you're in control. Like and even from just people around you, this is the best driver on the road, but you still have all the idiots out there, too. You got to be a defensive driver in all aspects. But safety number one. I'd tweet it out and anything, but not afraid to nap, even if it's not at a charger. But all eyes alert. You have the relaxed camera now, but don't play around with that. Follow the law. Be extra safe.
Yeah. So do you have any a contingency plan if the car forced a disengagement rule at the worst possible time? Like, are you prepared for some of those things in terms of, because
yeah, I'm safety again. Safety is number one, to where I'm not trying to game this. I'm not willing to risk my life over a score on a screen. But safety is number one. Hands close to the wheel. Do everything you can to make sure you make it home safe to your family.
Yeah. What's some examples of some close calls so far?
Right after I did the coast to coast, and fortunate enough to go up to the out of spec track and hang out with Kyle and Scott for the day. When I was going the drive from Myrtle Beach up to basically the North Carolina Virginia border, there was 2 different times that they were moving mobile home trailers that were like a lane and a half wide, and it was just this 2-lane highway, one on each side, and it was taking up like a lane and a half, and the FSD had to pull over on the shoulder, and it was avoiding and getting out of the way. And I was thinking, like, even if I was manually driving, there just wasn't much room. Like there wasn't a big shoulder. It was a kind of on a bridge. It was like I don't even know why this was on there, but it squeezed to the absolute tightest it could, and we made it by. That would be some examples. I mean, just since version 14's come out, like I had a Home Depot bucket fly out of a guy's like work truck onto the road, a couple cars ahead of me, and it avoided that.
Jeez.
A couple road kills, smaller, not big deers. Or
Also
anything.
avoided those.
Yeah, also avoided those on the highway. There was a big like 2x4, not or like a big, I wouldn't say 2x4, but like a huge like stack of plywood. Avoided that on the freeway. This wasn't on the coast to coast, but in the last 11,000 miles. And then I think maybe the most impressive thing though was I was driving through the state of Wyoming, and it was a very winter advisory warning, 80-mile-an-hour winds, legitimately.
Jeez.
And within a 100-mile stretch, I saw six tipped over semi trucks, and I was able to do. And then granted, the nature of the electric car having the low center of gravity with the batteries, that definitely helped it out. But I was able to do 85 in Mad Max the whole way through that. Why trucks and everything are having this whole storm, and it handled it flawlessly. It never hit a rumble strip, never had the lane kept it in the lane the whole time. It was honestly like the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen it do. It was crazy impressive. It was, I would have felt safe driving in it, but it's on kind of on that tail, cusp, but just the winter storms where you're like, maybe I'd consider pulling over, and it took it like a champ. It was almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's unreal. Like I got, the launch edition Juniper, and we got the new 14.2, and we were driving around, or I wasn't really driving. I was letting FSD drive it, and like the whole time I was there for Christmas, like I don't think I drove. I mean, I'm in the 90% I'm not 100%. But it was just like my sisters were like not driving, but riding with me, and they're just like, whoa, like this exists.
And what's kind of your thoughts, I guess, showing to people over the years? You told me you had 13 Teslas. You must have showed a bunch of people FSD over the years. Is 14 kind of too, where that's starting to click with people? Like, are they starting to actually want it, or how has it kind of evolved in you showing it to people?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a part of like Tesla ownership since like Mobileye, right? So like my brother had a 2016, I think. It was still on the earlier Mobileye, or maybe it was a 13, but the S. And that was when like it would go through hills and it would do crazy phantom braking. So it was like still impressive though at that time, because this is like 2015 or something, 16.
10 years ago.
Yeah,
now.
and you're like, this is nuts. But like now we're getting to a point where I'm talking to you that did 11,000 miles completely intervention free, and you're like, there are some rules that you created, but still like it's ridiculously impressive. So I don't know if like people are still, they're not necessarily against it. I think a lot of people just still don't know about it, because they hear about like Waymo, they hear about Zook, or some of the other ones as well.
Cruise or anything.
Yeah, all this stuff. But like, they just don't know that exists. So like my sister, for example, like she has a EV, she has a the Hyundai EV, what is it called? Ioniq 6.
Oh, yeah.
And like it has nothing in terms of, I mean, it does have like cruise control and a little bit more advanced stuff, but it doesn't do what Tesla can do, right? So I mean, it's just like when she looks at that, she's pretty amazed, and she just didn't realize it existed. So I think the next thing she was like, maybe I should get one, because I don't like driving, So I think it's coming around.
I always thought I was a car guy growing up, and had the Lamborghini posters on my wall and everything.
Yeah.
But I think at this point, I hate driving. Like, why, if I can get chauffeured for $3 a day, why? I mean, I don't know how you can turn that down. It's the best feeling in the world. But I don't. I don't want to drive anymore. I don't want to run errands. I want to
do stuff.
I want to.
Yeah, you can work or just do. I mean, right now you can't, but eventually we will be able to. And I think that's like what a lot of people don't realize is like, I don't like driving those long trips, like family trips, especially right now during the holidays or post-holidays. Like when you go do your 4-hour trip, you're tired by the end of it, because you're making all these micro decisions in terms of braking, turning, avoiding, like all these things. And you basically strip that away, and then you come to your trip and I'm not even tired anymore, because I'm not really focusing on all those things. So I think there's a lot of compound of all those decision making.
I fully agree. I would say like, even on an extreme end in today, like say 1,000 miles, if you're going to spend, 16, I'd say 1,000 miles on FSD, even with charging and how it actually takes longer time than 1,000 miles, drive, even though it's a longer time because of the charging, you're definitely way more refreshed when you get your.
100%. Are you going to do all 50 states?
I'm committed to 49 this year.
You can't do Alaska, I guess you could do Alaska, but where do you?
Like the BC hydro stations, like with Bearded Tesla and Tesla Tino. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
If they could get it up to, I think I could get it to Alaska.
Dempster, or is it Dempster Drive or something? I forget what it's
Dempster
called.
Highway.
Dempster Highway.
There must be a way to get to Alaska. I mean, I know people driving it, maybe on there, but I already had somebody nice enough graciously. They said they let me borrow a Model Y for a day in Hawaii if I come out there. But I think it'd be pretty cool if I could do, even if I had to rent a car in Alaska on Turo, but to do, drive in all 50 states in 1 year with FSD, I think that's a great 2026 goal.
That would be insane. That would be awesome. So I think kind of going into the psychology of the supervision, you're going into the 14.2, and you kind of mentioned that was a huge leap. And they started creating this parking lot and then curbside, and then they also have driveway. But right now they're not doing like garage or.
It depends on the destination type.
Okay.
Parking garage will come up.
Parking garage will come up. Okay, interesting. But was it harder driving for 10? This is kind of a loaded question, but driving for like 10 hours or supervising for 10 hours, like at this time, it's not really stressful anymore, right?
No. I mean, even if it took the same amount of like effort and the thinking and everything, I mean, just that peace of mind that I know I have this, extra 360-degree eyes around me that's protecting me at all times, that's seeing what I can't see. That brings joy to me and makes me feel like a kid in a candy store every day. Just that it's almost two people driving, at once. That, I mean, I think it's night and day difference, supervising versus driving it manually. Yeah,
the current feature in the Tesla is if you like fall asleep, because it has an in-cabin camera, it actually pulls you over if you're like falling asleep. Has that ever happened to you yet?
No.
Okay.
No, not.
You don't drive past exhaustion or anything like that, just because remember you said safety is a big issue, right? Or the big priority.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And then I'll turn into. I guess would you say that FSD is better than you at driving? Because I feel like it's better than me. Like my wife says that all the time.
Yeah, it's way smoother. I mean, in every aspect. Yeah, it's a better.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if unless you're, 1 out of 100, I think you're egomaniac if you say it's not a better driver than you.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
When do you think that happened? Because I think during the older versions, it was still doing some of that jerking motion a little bit, and kind of rough turns, or will automatically go left or something like that. So do you think it started happening? Like 14? Was that the?
Yeah, 13 to 9, 14, kind of in there.
Yeah.
Definitely not on 12.
Yeah, 12 was still elite, but not nowhere near as like the 14, I think. Sweet. So I guess moving into the FSD itself, I think we've been kind of talking mostly about the good, right? Everything that's good with it. I think, what are some of the feedback you can give? Like, what is it not good at so far?
Well, the first thing that kind of comes to mind, not quite what you asked, but I do kind of miss the max speed.
Mad Max, yeah.
Or, just being able to use the scroll wheel. In some instance, that would be nice, like why they're figuring it out. I can see why it makes sense, because in an unsupervised state, like they got to develop the software to not have it. So maybe we're all paying a little tiny pain, but I agree with, like, you see Dirty Tesla talk about that all the time. Wish they had the scroll wheel. That would be nice in some instances, but other bad things. I mean, parking lots, it's not like the greatest at it. It's successful, but it's very slow. I mean, you can't like pick a spot. You can't tell it. I hear a lot of people like talking to me now lately, like, oh, I wish I could use Grok to say like, take a left here, or park up, make sure you park in the curbside delivery spot, or, you know, those kind of things. I would agree with. That'd be nice if you could, like almost like auto park, if there's a way, like even on FSD, where if you had, you'd have to disengage auto park, but then, you know, within that 8 stalls around you or wherever, you could pick,
Yeah,
you could pick exactly where you wanted to go. But now you're forced into where it chooses you. But for those of you that don't know out there too, if you don't like where it parked you on there, one, I would try to drop a pin, especially in a big shopping center, of where you want it to exactly park. That really helps tremendously. But also too, if you just re-put in the navigation spot of what you just put in last time when it's parked, it just immediately tries to find a new parking spot. It doesn't.
Oh, so you just put the same thing and it'll just go out and then find another one?
Yeah, just know it can go that. And I put a good example on this on X. It was at Buc-ee's at a supercharger, and it was full, and I really had to use the restroom, so I wasn't willing to wait. I ran in, and then so I'm parked at a spot, and then there's the supercharger stalls behind me, and so I just re-put the supercharger in the navigation, and then it just literally backed straight into the spot. It didn't even think about it or try to drive around the block. So that's kind of a good tip. That's helped me get to keep it 100%.
How often do you repark?
1 out of 10 times probably.
Wow, that's
Maybe
a
1 out of
lot more than I
15.
thought. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the stops you're stopping at superchargers and hotels, and they usually have a pretty easy to navigate parking lot, right?
It seems like it you know, when you go to these busy areas where it's almost shines because it knows you have to get in between the 2 cars, but I don't know what it is, but something about it just being an empty lot, I feel like that's where it where
It's
it
just
struggles.
more ambiguity, just not really knowing what is
Yeah.
available and what is not. Yeah, so kind of creating more guardrails around other cars and stuff like that. That makes sense. Well, let me just review this real quick.
I think one of your things on here while you're looking is FSD, like people asking, you know, with all these miles and everything, are you getting honked at? Are people angry at you?
Yeah.
Is it a good driver, a bad driver? I don't ever experience that. I don't think I've ever been honked at in this car. I don't see it as bad. I'd like to hear your opinion, but like it actually stopping at stop signs. I don't mind that. It's so nice and smooth now on 14. Especially like if you're in the city streets and you put it on Mad Max. I don't know if you noticed, but it doesn't stop as long and soft. But I like that it makes an actual stop. But what's kind of your take on those?
I was at like in North Georgia. I met up with my sisters for Christmas, and we were in this really large wooded neighborhood. It was a pretty large neighborhood, but it had like a gated community, so I had to stop, scan my QR code, and all of that. I went FSD the whole way. And I like that in the stop sign, it stops for like 4 or 5 seconds, honestly. And then after that, it stops by the gate, and then the gate opens up, and then it goes through, and it makes a stop sign. And it did the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I remember my sister, again, being like amazed, like, are you not doing any of that? I'm like, nope. It's like, I didn't know this could do that, because I just got, I think, the newer update over the holidays.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think... like like I said, it drives way better than me, because I feel like sometimes I miss it.
So you're going to North Georgia. You probably don't go there often. I guess what's kind of your take about it, kind of in a new environment? Like I think it's almost your friend in that way, that you go to a new town. Every town's got their things. Some have roundabouts.
Yes,
some have left-hand exits. There's a lot of, you know, every town, every region's sort of different. You kind of experience that it's another way that it's helpful on these road trips.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just kind of, like you said, it's like a second driver. And you're getting a second set of eyes, and you are the second set of eyes. And you are the passenger, and then you're just intervening. I mean, you kind of mentioned it, like sometimes you have to give it a little accelerator, right? To say that it's okay to keep going.
Yeah, and just for this kind of, you know, we're like trying to force it in.
Yeah, like when we're forcing stuff in. But other than that, I mean, you're not.
That's the only time.
Yeah. Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah, I haven't ever been honked at really on FSD, and I feel like most people don't know that I'm on FSD.
It took a lot of patience, but when I think it was right before the holiday update, but it was still 14.2, one of those ones in between. But I was driving down I-95 in Florida, and there'd be a bunch of these like minimum speed signs for truckers,
Mm-hmm.
and it was thinking that was the speed limit, and then you'd be going like 75, 80, and then it would
Whoa.
cut down a good bit, and then it was, you know, I had to turn it up in Mad Max the whole time just to eventually it figured it out. But
Just kind of ignore it.
couple of those, it was, I wouldn't call it phantom braking, but definitely just not going the speed that you'd like it to.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna kind of start wrapping up a little bit. But what did this trip change about how you think about driving and traveling?
I mean, I think at FSD I gotta have it with me anymore, just from the safety. Like I was telling you beforehand, like I could fly if I wanted to more for work. I could get a rental car, but I like doing these drivings, not just solely because of FSD. I just think it's that much of a game changer at this point, that it's worth the effort I'm using to do it.
Yeah, and contradictingly, I know you sell LIDAR for different use cases and stuff, but we were kind of talking off camera too. It's like the vision base is the way to go in terms of your personal opinion, just because of the just
compute and sensor
computing
fusion and
cost and all of that. And I know there's other competitors that have a hybrid model or having like a LiDAR at the top or something like that. And it's just kind of hard to scale, I guess. I guess that's the argument here. But with this one, you've kind of proven that you can do a lot more
yeah,
than what people think.
in 11,000 miles. That's, I mean, most leases you're basically kind of in the new car sales, or you always deal 10, 12,000 mile a year leases. This is that, that's a whole year's worth of driving. Granted, it's a little more highway than most, but I mean, we're at a year's worth of driving for the average American that it did with no input whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. And how has the response been online? I know there's been some coverage already on your posts, and a couple others already start picking it up and stuff, but what's kind of been the response you've been getting on X and online?
It's been huge. Like I said on this, like I was driving home on the 6,500 miles, and I'm thinking like, okay, it'd be cool to get to 10,000, especially by the end of the year. I think that's a really cool milestone, especially before the robotaxis in Austin go unsupervised. If I could do that, I think that would be kind of significant of where things are at. But I never realized like people care. This is just something in my head. When I was growing up in high school, I was junior in high school, Ed Bullion from VinWiki set like the new Cannonball record, and I was always into, high speed. I loved all his videos and Alex Roy and stuff.
Yep.
And all that, and that was like kind of a real inspiration. Like, but I never, I've never had the guts to do what those guys do. Doing the Cannonball, and then I started watching. There was like the EV, friend Kyle from Out of Spec. He's set a Cannonball EV record, the new Taycan, and crazy video. And I was watching that video, and it was 4 or 5 hour video, and I'm thinking I'm using Grok and Gemini and stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, I have a Cybertruck. If enough of these V4 500 kilowatt stations come out, and they were spaced out this far, I was like, oh, maybe I could theoretically beat Kyle, and the math never worked out. That new Taycan creams. But so I was kind of thinking about that, and then I was just thinking like, hey, let's try it. If we went coast to coast, we'd hit the 10,000, and then I honestly just thought the coast to coast would be the kind of the cherry on top, and kind of just like a personal thing. It'd be cool to just like tell myself, like maybe tell my children or grandchildren, I'm unfortunate enough when I'm old, like, hey, I was the first guy to do that. And then it's just really turned into, transforming. You wake up, you got, 27 million views. You got Elon Musk retweeting you for the second time in a month, and I'm just an average Joe with no Tesla shares, and just a guy that likes to sit in his car. And I mean, from all the outstanding support from Ashok to the Andre, I'm not sure to say his name, the former head of Tesla, to a bunch of other autopilot engineers, to the New York Post. I did an interview with the local news station, ABC news station in Myrtle Beach, to got to speak with Alex Roy this morning in his podcast.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. And then, of course, going to Kyle. It's been kind of insane. It's almost like being in a dream. So
Yeah.
and
I bet the Tesla engineers are super stoked because like their work for like the last 10 plus years.
Yeah,
It's like
it came true.
it's like kind of finally coming true, and it's only starting, but I mean it's really.
And I hadn't thought about that aspect too, and that must be really cool. And it means something. I'm just a guy there, but yeah, I mean it's a long time because I didn't know it at first because I knew Elon not the best prediction guy on timeline, but
yeah.
but I didn't realize that he had said like they're going to do coast to coast all the way in 2017. And,
Yeah.
and they
right.
still hadn't done it, and and I wasn't getting a good rap for a while, and I'm sorry for Bearded Tesla and his wrecked Model Y and
Yeah.
Josh West. I'm sorry to steal
Yeah.
it from you guys, and hope you guys are doing well. And that's a terrible, unfortunate thing that happened, and wish you guys the best. But yeah, it's just like can't believe I'm sitting here with you. So it's
Yeah.
just what a couple days.
Yeah.
It's all thanks to you guys.
So would you do any differently so far since looking back at it 11,000 miles ago?
Probably document it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be the thing. Just more photos, more videos, more ways to show that autonomy here, safety is here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole new world. And nobody knows it's here.
Yeah. And lastly, what's your advice to people that are hesitant about FSD?
Give it a fair shake. Go down to your service center, get a free demo. You can get it. You don't have to talk with anybody. You can get a, touchless demo. You just upload your license, experience for yourself on your own. Rent from your local guy on Turo. But give it a fair shot. In a lot of ways, your life is precious. Time is precious. The FSD even now is giving you more time back, more comfortability, and it's going to do so even more. But your life is the most precious thing too, and it only has to work once. Like you see who lives near me, the Clifford guy in the Cybertruck, the guy that like swerved out of the lane and saved him at the last moment. Like if you didn't have FSD, you wouldn't be here right now. And accidents don't happen to everybody, but if it only saves you once, it's worth its weight in gold and then some.
Yeah, I agree. I totaled a Model Y, I forget how many years ago, 3 years ago, on a highway going to Atlanta, and I was completely safe. My kids weren't in there, but
What happened?
like it was a hydroplane, and then it just went, and then it hit it. But it wasn't FSD necessarily. But I don't know if FSD would have saved me. But the car is just so dang safe. I didn't feel a thing. I didn't even go to the hospital. It was completely fine. So you're in the safest car on top of FSD, I think. So that's.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, yeah, FSD is kind of another level of safety, but that's a good point. Like, number one, every vehicle that they have in crash safety tests.
5 stars.
And then you're, and you're buying American made as well. You're buying the most American car you can get.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time, David.
Yeah, thank you. This has been a real pleasure.
This is going to be fun. We're about to actually wrap your Model 3 in a special color in the next 2 days, so we're going to have a lot of work to do. It's all prepped, ready to go, and stay tuned. So thanks for watching, and hit that subscribe button, and make sure you follow David Moss on his journey as he continues to 20,000 next, I guess.
And make sure to go to the Chattanooga Charge coming
Let's
up this
go
March.
in March. Let's go. We'll see you later.